Hi, welcome back to Family and Fit, where we talk fitness and how to integrate it in your busy lifestyle. It's time for another theory series video. So today what we'll be going over is having perfect form versus dynamic. And what I'm referring to by dynamic movement, I'm referring to a movement that may have a little bit of a sloppy form or may have a modification to what somebody may call proper form, and what kind of benefits you may get from it and what kind of negatives you may get from it as well. So I'm going to take y'all to the gym with me. We're going to go through some movements. I'm going to give y'all a voiceover over the different movements and what we're doing there, and kind of just talk while we're going through the workouts. I've also added a little bit of stuff where we tried to be a little cinematic. Just let me know what you think about that. And just keep in mind, people, that this is the theory series, so not necessarily everything you hear is proven and you should listen to this advice, but I think these are things that you may want to give a shot at and see if you're in a plateau, if they may help you break past the plateau and help you just get to the next level. So let's go ahead and dive right into this thing and start this voice. So you'll see that I got my little brother here with me working out. We're going to start off with some seated rows. So the overall thing, what is the difference between perfect form and a dynamic movement? Well, here you can see where he's going more for the perfect form. He's actually slightly in between the perfect form and the dynamic movement. And so what we're calling the dynamic movement would be putting a rotation into this seated row. You can see right there he had some decent amount of rotation in the lift. Here I'm doing very strict form. There's a slight movement in my shoulder going back, but that's also just my scapular retraction. And as we go through this, you'll see that we're going to go into more of that dynamic movement where we'll throw in a lot of rotation. So a lot of people preach, you need perfect form, you need perfect form. Well, if you always do perfect form, then you're going to leave out things like the dynamic movements, and you're going to leave out things like this dynamic movement here. Look at the rotation that he's throwing in here. Now, one of the downfalls about using dynamic movement is it's a lot easier to occur an injury. So that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, issues with the dynamic movement. Another thing with the dynamic movement is it could cause you to get sloppy and lose your mind-muscle connection. My brother's silly. And then by losing that mind-muscle connection, you're actually going to lose the ability to gain muscle. You can go through the movements and still gain muscle, but I think there's such a huge impact in your mind-muscle connection and really targeting the proper muscles, and just for safety, and then also for gains as well. You're gonna lose the ability to make gains all the way around. You may feel like weird stuff like your forearms burning out first, and it's because maybe you're curling your hand in too much. So that is a major downfall. Now, one of the positives that I look at for doing a dynamic style movement is the fact that with the dynamic style movement, you're activating way more muscles, you're activating more core strength, and I think that it's going to just overall give you more strength in your entire body. It's a little bit more crossing into the realm of a CrossFit style workout. It's just very, very dynamic, and that's how most CrossFit workouts are, is they're very dynamic. Now, I don't necessarily do any type of CrossFit workouts. Okay, I want you to give me some grit. Some grit, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's hard. Heavy weight. What the? Try again.
Okay, I'll have to.
Grit the teeth.
Too much. Yellow, bro. Don't do it.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Perfect. Perfect, dude. Alright, sorry for the slight distraction. Trying to get a little cinematic for you guys. I think the approach on how we threw that in there is kind of a little awkward. But back to it. So yeah, I really don't do any type of CrossFit style workouts. These dynamic movements I do really like to do because you feel muscles sore in areas that you're not used to feeling muscles being sore. And I just love that. I love knowing that I got in a workout that was better than most and more dynamic than most. Go ahead and jump into one of the second main reasons why you may want to use a dynamic movement. When it comes to doing strength style workouts, using the dynamic movement, you can potentially get some more momentum on the weight and therefore be able to move more weight, causing you to be able to get more volume in for the day. Now, a lot of people disagree with this approach, but especially when it comes to breaking plateaus, sometimes you got to push fitness to the edge, and I highly agree with that factor because if you get far enough in your lifting career, you'll eventually reach a point where it's difficult to hit new PRs and to still gain muscle without taking some type of other approach. So you got to throw in some extra stuff and do some weird style lifting to just overall trick your body and find a new way to add volume and also to keep yourself very intrigued with working out still and just staying excited about it, because if you're going to put in years of fitness and then get to a point where you just hate it, what's the point? Let me know in the comments down below what you think about dynamic plateaus. Do you see the same pros and cons of them? Like I said, it's very good for hitting muscles that aren't normally targeted, for getting more of a dynamic strength, good for breaking through plateaus, and just overall kind of making your workout exciting. I just love getting this extra contraction in. It just makes me feel like I'm doing a more functional style lift. Like this will actually help me in my day-to-day life if I got to pick up something heavy versus doing more of a bodybuilding style workout where it's just so isolated. Even like doing stuff like the bench press and the seated row, like it can be such an isolated movement that you can still be really weak when it comes to day-to-day life. So yeah, let me know what you think.